Hey, Avon Preschool. It's Miss Carol. I hope you all are staying happy and healthy and safe at home with your parents and your families, brothers and sisters, grandmas and grandpas, whoever's with you in your house, maybe even some friends. So I thought today that we would talk a little bit about some science. And as you guys remember, science is a study of the world and every living and non-living thing in it. So today we're actually going to talk about non-living and living creatures. Okay, the name of this book is called Is It Living or Non-Living? And then we'll talk about some examples. We'll do a little sorting game. Okay, here we go. Living things. Living things are alive. Living things grow. Plants and animals are living things. What do living things need? Animals need air, food, and water so they can stay alive. Plants need air, light, water, and nutrients so they can stay alive. Nutrients is like you taking your vitamins every day. So it's nutrients. Nutrients are vitamins for living things. You guys can hear my kitty cat meowing. That's Lily. She's definitely a living thing. Non-living things. Non-living things are not alive. Non-living things do not grow and do not have needs. Non-living things do not need food or water. Non-living things do not need air, light, or nutrients. So you guys can see this is a giant boulder, a big rock, and then there's an iceberg. Those are non-living things. Habitats. Boys and girls, we have been talking about habitats in preschool for a long time, and habitats are places where living things live. Your habitat is your house or wherever you live. A habitat for a tree frog is a rainforest. A habitat is a place where certain types of plants or animals live. There are many different habitats on Earth. In each habitat, there are living and non-living things. Can you tell which things are living and which things are non-living in each habitat? Let's look closely at this picture. Do you see something that's non-living or only things that are living? Well, I see light from the sun coming down into the rainforest, and I see a lot of trees and plants. I wonder if you think any of those things are non-living. What about the ocean? I see a rock, but that's called coral. Coral is actually a living thing. And then I see a lot of fish. You guys see some fish you recognize? Studying about and learning the ocean? Let's go to the next page. Polar habitats. This is a part of the world we haven't studied yet. Polar habitats are where penguins and seals live. Let's read about them. Polar habitats are areas of land and water near the North Pole and the South Pole. Polar habitats are very cold. There are many living and non-living things in a polar habitat. This seal is in a polar habitat. Is it living or non-living? Does it need food, air, and water? Does it grow? If you said the seal is living, you, my friends, were correct. It does need food, air, and water. There's another place that you might be familiar with. This is called the desert. We have many deserts here in the United States. And I know that there are some in other places like Mexico too. Deserts are areas of dry land. It can be very hot in a desert. There are many living and non-living things in a desert habitat. The sand is in a desert habitat. Is it living or non-living? What do you think? Turn to somebody that's near you and tell them. Is sand living or non-living? Does sand need air, food, and water? Does it grow? The sand is non-living. Nope, it does not need air, food, or water. Here's the ocean. That's something that a lot of you are also familiar with, especially if you're in Miss Cynthia and Miss Sandra's room. You guys have been learning about the ocean and all the living creatures there. Oceans are very large areas of water. There are many living and non-living things in an ocean habitat. This lobster is in an ocean habitat. Is it living or non-living? Does it need air, food, and water? Does it grow? This lobster is living. He's definitely living. Prairie, that's another part of the world, another habitat that you may or may not know about. In our rainforest room, we've been studying about the jungle, the savanna in Africa. The savanna is actually a grassland or a prairie. Prairies are open areas of land with few trees. There are many living and non-living things in a prairie habitat. This pond is in any prairie habitat. Is it living or non-living? What do you think? Ponds. Does it need air, water, and food? Does it grow? What do you think? Turn to somebody and tell them. If you said the pond is a non-living thing, you are correct. It is water. Rainforest, here you go. That's our classroom. Miss Stephanie is in my room. That's what it's called. But Miss Gabby and Miss Tatiana's room have been learning about the rainforest, so this should look really familiar to most of you. Rainforests are large forests that grow in warm, wet weather. There are many living and non-living things in a rainforest habitat. This plant is in a rainforest habitat. Is it living or non-living? What do you guys think? Take a minute. Think. Does it need air, water, light, and nutrients? Does it grow? If you said the plant is living, you are right. Very good. So now we're going to think about different photos on these 2 pages. Living or non-living? What do you guys think? Rock, living or non-living? Non-living, you're right. Snake, living or non-living? Living, that's right. Plant, what do you think? Is the plant living or non-living? Definitely living. And a waterfall. Do waterfalls need air and food and light? And they already are water. So no, it is non-living. What about snow? Is snow a living thing? Nope, it's made of water, which is a non-living thing. Palm trees that they have in deserts and other warm places. Definitely living. Dolphins. I love dolphins, don't you? Dolphins are definitely a living thing. And a stream much like the waterfall or the snow, is also non-living. So if you said those things, you are correct. So, and there's the answers right there. All right, are you guys ready to do a little activity with me? All right, I've got some cards here laid out in front of me. You can't see them yet. I've got a chart here that I put here on the wall. It says living things and non-living things. And we're also going to talk about, let me show you some things I've got here. I have a pine cone. What do you think? Is a pine cone living or non-living? Well, a pine cone is actually a seed for a tree. And it becomes a tree. So many of you might actually say it would be a living thing because it becomes a living thing. The seed itself is not alive, but it turns into something that's alive. What about a rock? What do you guys think about that? Are rocks living or non-living? Think about that boulder you saw in that book, that nonfiction book. It's definitely non-living. And here we've got an agate. Look at that. It's kind of a rock. It's definitely non-living. Here's something that represents something that's living. Those are some rabbits. That's a little statue. The statue is non-living, but it represents something that's alive. Rabbits. Finally, a plant. What do you guys think about that? Is that living? Yes, it is. It needs air, food, sunlight, and water. It's alive. It's a living thing. So let's go back to our chart. Okay, so I'm going to hold up each thing, and you think about it for a minute. And think, is it going to be living or non-living? That's a seahorse. Think really hard. Food, water, air, sunlight. It's alive. It's a living thing. We're going to put it on this side. Got that. An octopus also lives under the ocean. Oh, there's your clue right there. It lives. It is a living thing. A beach ball. Does it need food, air, sunlight, or water? Nope, it's a non-living thing. A little girl. A little girl maybe looks like some of you. Living or non-living? Does she need food, air, sunlight, water? Yes. She's a living thing. She's a person. Fire truck. Nope, it's non-living. Pizza. That might be some of your favorite treats. What do you guys think? Non-living. There are some things that go into pizza that were alive once, like vegetables and wheat, but it is actually a non-living thing. And if you eat healthy pizza, that helps you grow. What about a football? A football, that's a toy that some of you might have. It is non-living, you are right. A mouse. A mouse. Does it need food, air, sunlight, and water? Yes, it's a living thing. Zebra. Yes, it's a living thing. What about a snake? That's a living thing, yes. Okay, let's do a couple more. What about a bed? A bed. Does it need food, air, sunlight, or water? Nope, you are right if you said non-living thing. What about a board game? Some of you may be playing these at home with your families. Board game. It is a non-living thing, you're right. Okay, boys and girls, that's about it for today. We're going to say goodbye for now, but that was your science lesson for today. We talked about living and non-living things, and we read a book. So what I want you to do as you finish out your day today, I want you to get someone's help at home, and I want you to gather some things that you might have at home. You might have plants and things like that at your house, I'm not sure, or maybe if you step outside your door there might be some. But I want you to gather some things, and I want you to talk about with a family member whether or not the things that you have gathered, and sort them into living and non-living, and see if you can tell the difference and see if you can tell why. Okay, that's it for now. I will see you guys next time. Bye.